ish. We're
Oh,
out
hi.
in the void.
I'm the E in Cordkillers.
Interesting. Yeah. This is interesting. It looks like it just seized up. I don't know if it's running or not.
How would we ever know?
I'm opening up chats, I promise. We're about to find out.
Chat. OMG chat.
I'm the D in Cordkillers.
Boy, we really are. Like this is the very end of senioritis, right before the holiday.
Actually, I would argue it's the opposite. If it was senioritis, we would have just lazed out and used StreamYard. But Brian was like, no, come on, we can make this work. Let's do it.
We are.
Let's try the new vMix.
Yeah, we are right at the very cusp. Let me try refreshing this, see if this guy is going. And if it is, hey, okay. It looks an awful lot like it's working. So that means all I have to do now is try.
Hello. Are we working? Can you see the show?
Ooh, that was a good rhyme. It was a good rhyme. We had a good time. You're looking mighty fine. Tequila and a lime.
Just give me a sign.
There you go. Yo, Dylan Theus. Merry Christmas Eve, oh killers of chords. Right on, right on.
Christmas Eve for us.
Okay, let's see. Oh, doggone it. The one thing
the dog is gone.
Well, I didn't. I did.
She's over there.
My dog was barking earlier. And
Past
that doesn't mean
Brian.
my feet hurt.
Past Brian liked this other setup, and then now.
Yeah, that guy.
There we go. I guess that's fine.
I don't know if you
love it,
noticed, Brian, but there's a
And then let me
there's a big
make this.
dark box creeping in on our stream.
I used to like past Brian, but then I met current Brian, and I'm like, I like this guy better.
Current Brian is a bit calorie deprived and grouchy. He needs a nap.
Hey, maybe I'm saying I like
But this
like
is
it.
a known bug in current Brian.
I like a Brian with a sharp edge. You got to be careful.
Here we go. Here's some fake messages to put in here so we can make these a little bit bigger. Maybe get closer to this. There we go. And then, hey. There we go. And then finally,
Yo.
just make this bug full and then bug full.
And Tom, it's your week for 49.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, not that I have anything to prep. I just want to make sure you're ready.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. No. Yep. Okay, that works. Good.
Okay. We got a G. James. Oh, goodness.
Yep.
There we go. Oh, now I see. Oh, okay. All right.
Can you feel it? That's the question.
I think so. Let me just search. Let me just say out loud. The bug is on input 3. This
is all code, everybody.
No, the bug is
like a
on.
number station.
Repeat. The bug is on.
Input 3.
I mean, the good news is I spent all day Sunday getting this stuff together. The bad news is now it's like it's encountering, no good plan in the first enemy.
Yeah, right.
All that stuff.
It's encountering reality.
Okay, so now let me just
That's a good point, Dylan. Current Brian is cool, but future Brian.
Okay.
More cut out for him.
Go back to that. All right. Sure. I think we've got this, Tom.
Yeah? I think by George.
Sure. Yeah.
I think he's got it.
No, I like your style, Dylan. Okay. I'm not overwhelmed. It's Christmas. Miracles happen.
He is the very model of a modern major general.
Okay, here we go.
There's still that box that comes in when people chat. Comes in over Brian's head.
Protocol inactive.
You mean this when I'm highlighting it?
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you not like that?
I just want to make sure it was intentional.
Yes.
It's user
it's
active,
protocol
right?
Inactive. You know what? The protocol is still active. Go G James B if you want to. Well, actually, no. The protocol is still active, but I'm not. I'll trust you guys. Craig the Moose is asking about the magician haircut. Yes, we all miss it. All right, you ready? And here we go. And wait, 3, 2, 1. Oh, nope. Well, we recorded that. That was a good test. Hold on.
Welcome to Cordkillers Reckoning. The world of entertainment is turned upside down, and we are just trying to find out how to watch what we want, where we want, whenever we want. I'm Tom Merritt. Where is the good stuff for one last time in 2025, Brian?
Oh my God, this is the last time. After this, we do our Achilles episode.
Yes. The biggest night in television.
Yeah, they're all talking about it. They're all like, somebody destroyed everything, and now they're having an awards ceremony to laugh at the remains.
Exactly. So that'll be coming your way next week. The greatest moment of human history, the Achilles, where Brian, Amos, and I will award television shows and movies, but I think almost entirely television shows, with the most coveted prize in entertainment, the Achilles Award.
That's right. But
And
first,
now, this week, we begin the supply run.
Supply run, supply run, supply run.
So, worth noting here that YouTube had a defeat and a victory. And we're going to talk mostly about the victory, but the defeat is that it will no longer share data with Billboard for the US charts starting January 16th because it's unhappy in how free ad-supported music is weighted less than paid streaming music. Billboard actually changed the count. It used to be that it took 3 ad-supported streams to equal 1 paid stream on the Billboard charts. Now it's 2.5. YouTube said, not enough. We're out of here. But the bigger news is that YouTube is getting the Oscars. After ABC's agreement to air the Oscars ends in 2028, YouTube will be the place for the biggest night in show business, not the Achilles, the Oscars in 2029. YouTube gets the exclusive rights to broadcast the awards until 2033. This comes as YouTube continually dominates viewing measurements, including reporting more than 700 million hours of podcast viewing in October. This is why Netflix is trying to acquire podcasts, to be honest, because they want a little cut of that. But Brian, I'm saying, if you've got the biggest award show, like you can say whether you care about award shows, if people are into award shows as much as they are, but the Oscars is the one. If anybody watches just one award show, it's usually the Oscars. You've got that. You've got the NFL Sunday Ticket. You've got all the podcasts. if it's a video podcast anyway, people are watching it on YouTube. I think YouTube is television. I mean, we've said it before, but it really is. It's just television now.
Well, and more importantly than it actually being the dominant force in the way we consume video, it is starting to feel like it, which I know is a dubious distinction, but you know that I'm more interested in the marketplace of ideas and what people perceive things as being than necessarily what they technically are. And in this case, YouTube is kind of feeling cable-y in a weird way, but without the entanglements, question mark? I don't know.
I mean, I've often thought of YouTube as the modern day replacement and improvement of cable access television, right? When I was young, Brian, living in Austin, Texas in 1996, I had to go take a course at Cable Access Television in East Austin and learn how to use a 3/4-inch editing bay if I wanted to put my TV show out to the world. And then today, kids just buy an Ozbot and record something and post it on YouTube. That is to say, not to denigrate YouTube and say, oh, it's like cable access, which can be seen as an insult, but to say YouTube has widened out the ability for anyone to make a television show. And some of the best produced shows are just YouTube channels, that people are just making their own content for YouTube. It is now adding on to that. I think that's what's interesting to watch, is YouTube is saying, we're not just for creators, we're not just for influencers. We are also going to give you the Oscars. We are going to give you the NFL. And even if it doesn't have all the shows, that's kind of the only thing it doesn't have. You can pretty much turn on YouTube and keep yourself entertained.
So I'm a huge, huge fan of small design nudges that have big outsized cultural effects. And I keep going back to earlier this year, I want to say it was February or March of this year, was the moment that for the very first time, more than half of all YouTube videos, video views were from living room televisions. And I feel like that was the tipping point moment that didn't feel like a very big deal at the time. But now this Oscars is just one of the knock-on effects where it's like, and then of course, and then of course, and then of course.
Yeah, I feel like YouTube has replaced broadcast television in most ways as I just want to turn on the TV and see what's on. That recommended algorithm, that is kind of, let me just see what's on. Let me pick the first thing in my recommended space. And I can see the Oscars being one of those things, like, oh, the Oscars are happening. Let me watch that right now. Oh, they're streaming an NFL game. Let me watch that right now. Oh, it's Cecilia Bloomdahl from Long Year Bin. Let me watch that right now. It's going to be different for everybody on that third one, right? But you just sit down and turn on YouTube. Whereas later on is when you do cable. When you do like, oh, I'm actually going to watch Pluribus. Let me launch Apple TV and choose Pluribus. Or I'm gonna watch Stranger Things. Let me launch Netflix and choose Stranger Things.
Yeah, I'm curious. So one of the things that I think a lot of humans are going to be seeking as we become potentially more and more isolated in our own little algorithmically controlled bubbles is the sense that we're standing shoulder to shoulder with other folks. Now, one way to do it is to actually pick up your lazy bones and go to the local sports bar and be surrounded by televisions with other people. And that works for sports, but
and extroverts.
And extroverts, yes. Luckily, they sell antidotes for introversion at these same establishments.
At the bar, it's so convenient.
Exactly. But so the YouTube algorithm does something kind of curious and annoying on the inside, which is it's of course is the algorithm, but it talks as though it's not. It's like, well, your content wasn't enough to get seen, or the algorithm seems to like this and that. The more I spend time with the algorithm, the more I understand that it's basically a magnifying lens of several other little magnifying lenses. And there is a threshold. If you have a good enough open rate and people tend to open the thing and watch it long enough, then it becomes, there's no human in the loop. It just algorithmically makes it available to everyone. And so for cultural moments like the Oscars, then that is obviously of the gestalt. I am curious, Tom, here's where I'm headed with this. What other things are going to bubble up organically? And another example in a negative way of algorithmic amplification was when YouTube switched from views to viewer minutes. A side effect was that they platformed Alex Jones, because if you were interested in a World War II thing, that would lead you to a longer thing with more viewer minutes that was just above the interesting enough threshold. And eventually you got to the king of being able to go for hours and hours and hours with just above the threshold of your interest. Alex Jones, InfoWars would become the top thing. I'm curious what other developments we're going to see in that space. But in general, is this, here's the question I want to ask you, Tom. Is this an indication of YouTube having made it or the Oscars being back? Is that a weird way for me to couch that?
Oh, it's a little of both, right?
Like who's the winner here?
Yeah, because the question I was kicking around was kind of the other side of that coin, which is, will YouTube trust its algorithm to promote the Oscars to the people who are interested in it?
Well, and that's what I'm speculating. Is the Oscars
popular enough for the algorithm to give it to enough people to make it worth YouTube paying for the rights to stream it? Or is it something where YouTube's going to have to put its foot on the scale, which it doesn't like to do, and say, you know what, we need to push this out to more people and get them interested in it? Which is the answer to that question is the same as the answer to yours, which is, who is benefiting more? Is YouTube getting a patina from being able to say to you, hey, we have the Oscars now? Or are the Oscars like, oh crap, we can finally reach a larger audience than ABC can because YouTube reaches the entire world, reaches more people than any other broadcast outlet, according to Nielsen's The Gauge? I think it's both. I think I hate to be always like, well, the answer is more complex, but honestly, YouTube does get a patina of like, oh wow, YouTube's not just, messing around anymore. They got the Oscars perception. I'll be interested to see how much they push that, but also the Oscars can reach more people this way.
I would imagine that part of the negotiations to secure this deal probably guaranteed some backups in case it doesn't algorithmically catch fire the way that they would want. There's probably maybe a floor of eyeballs because there's one thing.
Would the contract need to have that though? Because to me, the Oscars are like, write the check, Google. If it cashes, great. Do whatever you want.
Except that remember, the Oscars beneath the surface is the Hollywood Votes for Hollywood Prestige Hollywood Awards, and it would be the idea. Even if they got a check for it, if that check resulted in an embarrassingly low number of viewers, the Hollywood glamour crowd would not like that, and there would be a problem, I suspect.
Maybe. I think there's something to that.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, as you were saying that, it occurred to me, there's also long-term brand value for the Oscars, because if they want to sell it to YouTube, if they want to get YouTube to renew in 2033, it needs to be successful. So you're right. The Oscars does have an interest in the numbers because they want to continue to be able to charge a lot for this.
So there's another aspect of this as well, where it's like the Oscars got put on the map. Nobody at the age of 8 cared about the Oscars. It's just the thing that you had to watch because your parents were watching it. And then eventually you developed an affinity for some of the prestige associated with it. And it occurs to me that in an algorithmically controlled universe, that straight up might just not happen. What 12-year-old is going to get served the Oscars automatically based on their viewing interests?
Cordkillers@gmail.com if you were that 8 or 12-year-old. I was always interested in the Oscars, but I don't remember at what age it was that I became aware that they existed. But it was one of those things that my parents had on that I was like, oh, this is cool. What is this about? But you're right. It's probably not, the highest thing in the demo for the 8 to 12-year-old market.
Well,
right?
And I guess, and this is just a slice of galaxy brain, Brian. I wonder, like, there's ideological cultural vegetables. And at some point, like, I never loved or got excited for the Oscars, but at some point it was baked into my DNA, and largely, with my identity, I'm thankful for it. An artifact of what happens absent that was we did the comedy show Great Night with Penny earlier, and I needed an example of a celebrity that would transcend generational divides, and I couldn't think of one automatically. The megastar is causing a divide in my comedy riffing with my daughter.
Yeah. I think the Oscars deserves a little more credit than being vegetables. I think a lot of people look at it as fun. I've been to Oscar parties with people who were extremely serious about predicting who would win because they had been invested in watching movies and they're way into it. Now, granted, I live in Los Angeles, so there's going to be a higher index of those kind of people. But the Oscars typically do have a lot of people who are interested in seeing everybody all in one place and what do they consider to be the best picture and all of that. However, you hit on something, which is like, now more than ever, the Oscars are not seen as a consensus. They are seen as a niche because of that divide that you were just talking about. Like nobody has the same algorithm. So YouTube is actually making it so that it's harder for the Oscars to be relevant because it is causing everyone to have different celebrities.
That's yes. No, they are part of the congrats. You get exactly what you want. I have terrible news. Everyone is having only exactly what they want.
Yeah, exactly. I hadn't thought about this yet either. What do you think of this? Does YouTube get to have an effect on the Oscars at some point? Do we get a category for best independent streamed movie?
I mean,
You
okay.
know,
Well,
like-
I'm going to guess that the Hollywood Awards aren't big on letting in independent or independent streamed. Well, I don't know. Maybe that'll change.
They do a lot of things for international. They do a lot of things for animation, and those are a result of sub-communities pressuring, saying, "Hey, we're artistic too," in categories that used to be considered to not be serious. Right? Animation was considered that's for kids, and then the animation community said, "No, it's not." And now there are two major animation Oscars. They could stick it in the technical awards that they do earlier instead of in the main. But yeah, I wonder if YouTube has any reverse effect on the Oscars at any point.
It'll be interesting.
Well,
Cordkillers.
I think we should put ourselves up for one.
Yes.
Don't
As a
you
matter
think?
of fact, yeah. No, in fact, we're preemptively putting ourselves up for an Oscar. You can vote for us by writing us a nice email at cordkillers@gmail.com, or even better, you could give us something better than an Oscar. $2 an episode. That's all we ask. We're keeping you company. We'll split a cup of coffee at the cheap place. And just $2 an episode. Head on over to patreon.com/cordkillers. And that's how you guys can keep us loud, live, and independent. Hey, Tom, you could go ahead and maybe refresh your video because it's a little bit frozen. And in the meantime, I'll see if we get lucky by introducing the search party. The search party is the next segment where Brian tries to fill the air while we see whether or not Tom's able to get his connection back. In this case, the very first item is Chris Evans appeared in Avengers Doomsday's teaser trailer as Captain America with a kid. And in this case, you get kind of a feel-goody piano version of the Avengers theme in there. Tom, what did you think about this? Did you feel anything? Oh, no.
I did,
he's
Brian.
frozen again.
No. I felt like, so the new Avengers isn't working out like you planned, eh, Marvel? This teaser is just showing you Steve Rogers. It's all about Steve Rogers. It's showing you what Steve Rogers has been up to, which is having a kid, apparently. And it says Steve Rogers will return in Avengers Doomsday. And maybe it's because I have not been following Marvel's movies as closely. I've been watching them, but I haven't been following them as closely as I used to. But it felt like, didn't we just say goodbye to him? Didn't we just retire Steve Rogers? It seems fast to bring him back when we have another Captain America who probably should have more time on the screen, I would think, before we just start bringing back the old guy. I imagine that Disney CEO probably feels this this is when they brought Bob Iger back. I know what this feels like.
Well, remember, if I've been tracking, and I've been only, kind of arm's length on all this, but if I have been tracking Doomsday correctly, this is their stand-in for Secret Wars
So I understand as well.
Right. So if that's the case, then let's distill what this Captain America trailer is. It's Steve Rogers in a little slice of whatever happened to, just one little moment, and then a promise that he'll return. Something tells me that a very good campaign, if you're going to sell a Secret Wars-like experience, is to give me 30 of those. 30 little slices of what happened to blank will return, blank will return, blank will return. And then suddenly we're at a fever pitch where it's like, let me buy all the action figures. Let's go.
That would certainly change. If we get Tony Stark next, then which would be really interesting because he's already.
I was about to
cast as a
say
different character,
that particular character canonically is dead. Oh wait, no, that's right, because you're right. I forgot that Captain America got old. He became Joe Biden at the end.
Exactly. So if we got 30 of these, then I would actually I would be like, oh, okay, I was wrong. This is just them using one of their top characters to introduce the series. And maybe that's what'll happen. I don't know about you, but I haven't seen a lot of other official Avengers Doomsday stuff. So this is all I got to go on. And I'm like, oh, so your first appeal to me is, hey, remember that old guy that we said had retired and got old? What if we brought him back? Would that bring you back? Come on, everybody.
Yeah.
Or maybe he'll host The Muppet Show, because The Muppet Show Revival has gotten a release date on Disney Plus, February 4th, 2026. Will also air on ABC, and Sabrina Carpenter will be the first guest star.
Yeah, so we're thinking, I believe this is technically just a one-off special.
They're
hope,
just going to, yes,
that
they're testing the waters to see if this is something worth bringing back.
that'd be a fine backdoor pilot. I would be very excited for that.
No, I think it's not even a back door; it's a front door.
Yeah.
They're just like, I think they've all but said, like, "Yep, we're going to do this one and see how it goes." Sabrina Carpenter, excellent choice. Very, very culturally relevant.
To be honest,
has a TV history, is very funny, you know. So I feel like if the Muppet Show had never gone away, I would have expected Sabrina Carpenter to be hosting it at one point.
And
sure.
To be honest, when I was trying to bridge that divide, that comedy divide between me and Penny during the show, Sabrina Carpenter was the name that popped in, and that's not even
was
from,
one of the
yeah. No, I think it's a good fit.
Stranger Things Season 5's next 3 episodes come out on Christmas Day, December 25th, and then the final episode will come out on New Year's Eve, December 31st. The runtime for the series has been announced. A lot of people were expecting this season to have like crazy long runtimes. The 3 episodes coming out on the 25th are a little more than an hour, so they're not ridiculous, but the finale is 2 hours and 8 minutes. Brian, which is definitely movie length, and they're showing these in movie theaters, so it makes sense.
So this is interesting. For the end of a very long run series like that, there oftentimes is kind of a victory lap that would play as a final episode of a whole series, but that's not the kind of movie that you would put in a movie theater. You would want it to be vaguely standalone and not just a series of cameos. And I'm thinking specifically about our full experiences. We've seen some shows end with a whimper, others with a bang. And that feels to me that they're trying something different. I don't know. Do you think it's going to be very movie-ish? Will it feel more like a blockbuster movie or more like the end of a 5-season series?
Yeah, I think it'll feel more like the end of a 5-season series. And because I think the putting it into theaters is more of a fan event. Let's all gather together to watch the finale together than it is, this is a movie. You know what I mean? Like, that's the old way was, well, if you're going to put it in the theaters, it has to be a movie. I don't think that's true anymore. I think now you can just be like, if we can get enough people to show up and buy hot dogs and popcorn, then great. That's all we need.
That was definitely my impression when it was 100-something theaters. But once they announced that they were bumping it up to 500+ theaters, I don't know how much of that was just PR noise. But also, it's like, you know, what are the theaters doing? They're just empty rooms right now anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And Netflix would like to give the theaters a lot of money right now, so the theater owners aren't so incensed that they'll complain about a Warner Brothers Discovery acquisition.
Yeah.
First trailer for Christopher Nolan's feature take on Homer's The Odyssey is out. It has sold out. It's 70 million IMAX tickets at AMC and Regal theaters, and it is not coming out till July. So people are very excited to see The Odyssey in IMAX, July 17th, 2026.
I did not see this. What did you think of it, Tom? Can you spoil me on it?
I thought it looked like The Odyssey, sort of. Okay. Kind of. I don't know. It's when the selling point is IMAX, it gets really hard to be like, okay, I'm watching this on my monitor. I'm sure it'll look great on IMAX, right? So yeah, I would like to go to an IMAX theater and see it in the IMAX theater. But I have no reason to believe it won't look great on there. So I'm into it. I actually like The Odyssey, so I'm curious what his take on it is going to be.
Yep. Starting
January 15th, Netflix subscribers in the United States, several German-speaking countries, not just Germany, so like Switzerland and stuff, France, Latin America, several other territories will be able to watch the most recent Bond movie, No Time to Die, as well as Die Another Day, Quantum of Solace, and Skyfall. Netflix is getting these Bond movies for a 3-month period, as well as a few other Amazon-owned titles. You remember, if you're like, why is this a big deal? Amazon owns MGM, which has the Bond movies. So everyone assumes like, oh, I guess you'll only be able to watch Bond movies on Prime Video. But no, that's not the way the business has ever worked. So this is no exception. Amazon is like, oh, Netflix will cut a check for a special let's get Bond movies on Netflix thing, because a lot of people will watch them if it's a special limited 3-month run. Great. Here you go. You can have them. Pay us the money. Amazon is also selling them Rocky and Creed, as well as the Legally Blonde films.
So this is really interesting. Early on, each of these streaming services had IP-related reasons to be very protective about their exclusives this and exclusives that. But this feels to me, and correct me if it doesn't land this way to you too, Tom, that I don't want to say they're full-on cartelling up, but they're established in their geographies where it's like, if you're in the Netflix ecosystem, you kind of want to watch a movie, you're like, oh my God, I have to click 3 whole things to go over to Amazon. And now Netflix is saying, hey, we don't want you to have to get up and leave. We'll work together. And I assume there'll be some kind of reciprocation in that space. Am I inventing something, or does this feel like a sign of maturity to you?
This just feels like the way the business has always worked, which is if you offer something every day, it's not special. So it's always good to be like, oh, let's put something new in front of them that they're not used to seeing. So every time I launch Netflix is trying to show me something else, show me something new. So I feel like my Netflix subscription is really valuable, even if I never watch it, right? I'm always like, man, that Netflix catalog, oh, look what they have now. So if they can, for 3 months, make a big deal of like, it's Bond season on Netflix. It reminds me of, when the movie of the week would be like, it's Bond month on ABC every Saturday this month. Watch a new Bond movie on ABC. It feels like that for Netflix, is they're going to be like, for 3 months, hey, it's the Bond times, check out James Bond. And Amazon knows, if we don't have them on Prime Video for a while, people will start to miss them. And then we can do the same thing when we bring them back. And I think the premise that intellectual property holders have always wanted to monopolize their IP and only show it on their own systems has been flawed. I don't think that's ever been the case. It's certainly a cultural advantage to have that stuff, but keeping it exclusive all the time makes it not as effective.
Yeah, and I guess I do think early on, when there's a land rush, you do want to establish your territory, and I guess they're,
because it's special then, right? Because it's a land rush,
right? Exactly.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. Do you know what a labubu is, Brian?
I'm sorry, Tom. The connection is getting very difficult, and I'm afraid I'm old.
Do you really not know what a labubu is?
I really don't.
Okay, no, that's fine. I'm not judging.
I barely knew who Sabrina Carpenter was.
I didn't want to try to explain it. If you're like, yeah, of course.
No, please.
Labubu, you know where the wild things are?
Yes.
So imagine somebody inspired by that wrote a bunch of books that were very similar, and then imagine a toy company in China says, hey, those are pretty popular. What if we made dolls for them? And imagine that those dolls became super popular in China. And then imagine that toy company said, hey, what if we paid celebrities across Asia to show off that they like Labubus too? And then everybody will want them. And then they'll be the new Beanie Baby, Cabbage Patch doll, whatever it is you want. That's a Labubu. Labubus are incredibly popular. Pop Mart, the company that makes them, has several other incredibly popular lines beyond the Labubus, but the Labubus are the most famous. They're like little monsters that look kind of like Where the Wild Things Are. And so, of course, there's a movie being made based on Labubus. And the news, the reason it brings us to Cordkillers, is that the guy who directed Wonka, Paul King, is going to direct the Labubu movie.
I always love the stories where it's like one modality is doing an impression of another modality, and then it comes around. Like, for example, a video game tries to be like a movie, becomes so popular that they make a movie of the video game that was trying to be like a movie.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that too. Have you heard of Heated Rivalry?
Tom, the connection's gotten very rough. I'm very old.
Is a complete no. This is newer. This is newer.
Good.
I didn't know about this till Molly Wood told me on It's a Thing like 2 weeks ago. Heated Rivalry is now the most watched original series ever on Canadian streaming service Crave. And here in the US, it's now the top-rated non-animated acquired series on HBO Max since the launch of HBO Max in 2020. So I know that's a lot of caveats, but basically it's like, forget animated, just live action, and forget stuff that HBO made itself, like Last of Us and White Lotus. Heated Rivalry is the most watched thing that they brought in since they started HBO Max, and is in the top 5 among all scripted debuts on HBO Max this year. It is a story. It is a love story of 2 hockey players who
my
are
goodness,
rivals on the ice.
As a matter of fact, just this morning, I was listening to, I think it was a New York Times Daily podcast talking about, they played a snippet of it, and it sounds like it's hot hockey on hockey player action.
Yeah. Hot enough to melt the ice, but not all the way, so they can keep playing hockey. We also have casting news for Star Trek Strange New Worlds final season. We will be getting a Sulu and a Bones. 2 iconic characters from the original Star Trek have now been cast. If you've been watching Strange New Worlds, you know that like characters from the original Star Trek have been showing up in appropriate places for where they are in this prequel series to the original Star Trek. We are going to get Kai Murakami playing Sulu. Murakami is a stage actor. He's a Shakespearean actor, so this will be his first TV role. And Thomas Jane, who played Miller on The Expanse, will be playing Bones.
Miller was the noir detective.
Doors and Corners. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. He had, you know what? That's a very human, very Bones, very emotionally driven F type character. That's great.
Yeah, I don't look at Thomas Jane and think DeForest Kelley, but I look at Thomas Jane's depiction of Miller and I think a little bit of DeForest Kelley's depiction of Bones. So I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to be an interesting take. Finally, The Legend of Aang, that's 2 A's, Aang, The Last Airbender animation has been pulled from its theatrical release. Look, listen, Paramount, it's not a good look when you're out there trying to win Warner Brothers over because you're the theater people, and then you pull Legend of Aang from the theaters, but it's going to go straight to Paramount Plus next fall.
Yeah, this is another case where it sounded like it was almost going to be a faithful adaptation and make all the cartoon people happy, had all the cartoon people involved, and then all of a sudden they weren't involved, and it's just kind of been in limbo, bouncing around. This is not a great vote of confidence for that project.
No,
but luckily fans of The Last Airbender have been through worse.
I suppose that's true. Yeah, that's another way to look at it. And you will be getting it on Paramount Plus, so you won't have to trek out to the theaters to get it. Now to the buried treasure.
Most people want to know why they suddenly got rich.
Buried treasure.
Now, this is the section of the show where Brian and I talk about something we've been watching lately to maybe introduce you to something or let you know what we think of something that's in the news. And we both have Fallout as our buried treasure. Brian is a devotee of the Fallout intellectual property. I know you were pleased with the first season of Fallout. How do you feel about episode 1 of season 2 of Fallout?
Tom, as you know, I've been very excited about season 2 of Fallout. I've been saying all year, I very much look forward to the beginning of season 2 of Fallout. And as of today, I can report to you, Tom, I very much look forward to the beginning of season 2 of Fallout. I don't know what that particular first episode was, but it did not look like a television show because those have a beginning, a middle, and end, and literally anything happens. This seemed like a bunch of nested ways to set up new plot threads with a bunch of characters showing up just long enough to say, as you know, I've always cared a lot about motivation. And then character who is very minor in season 1, it's like, as you know, this has been a very important thing to my motivation. So I don't know. I didn't get a lot out of this one.
This is a very, may I say, Odyssean way of telling a story. Instead of a hero's journey in the Campbellian way, more of a hero's journey in the journey is the story. In fact, the Odyssey, probably not as good of an example as Journey to the West is, which is a Chinese folktale. But yeah, this I dug it. Because I'm always like, ooh, a different way of telling a story. I like this. But if you were like, no, I liked season 1. Please give me more of season 1. I could see where this would throw you off because it was a lot of preamble.
And to be fair, I'm not saying I disliked it. I'm just saying that that I not a lot has happened. We've just been teased a lot of flavors, and I look forward to them being used. Basically, a lot of fulcrums were introduced, and I look forward to seeing them move something.
So you might feel differently about this episode after you've watched the next couple of episodes, depending on how they go.
And I think that there's an interesting tactical game of who releases what when. I think that it was an intentional choice, a measured choice for Amazon to essentially seed holiday buzz to Stranger Things and Pluribus. And instead, so Pluribus, we saw them make a move and early up their finale. And I think that Fallout has been holding its powder, as is evidenced by that coming up this season on. That was like, well, I look forward to that show at the very end of after the credits.
Yeah, I don't know. That could have been a design. Usually these things are produced independent of release date, though, as witnessed by so many Christmas episodes being released in July this year. But maybe Amazon has the wherewithal to be able to, especially for something this successful, to be like, no. This is the strategy. This is how we're going to roll it out. So tell your story around that. Be interesting to find out if they did that.
Did you?
If you got something, we should be on the lookout. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to ask, like, how's your passion at this point for Fallout? Like, did it fire you up, or did it just feel like a cozy lazy boy with that comfortable Tom-shaped groove?
It's a little round at the bottom, but skinny. I enjoyed it. I don't know what this says. I didn't think too much about whether I liked it or not.
Okay. Yeah. You didn't.
You know what I mean? Like I was like, ooh, new Fallout. Cool. Turned it on. Watched it. I was like, oh, there's that character I like. And oh, she's doing that. Oh, and there's the Walton Goggins guy. And we're getting a little flashback. Oh, that's cool. That's interesting. Oh, and they're going over here. Oh, we're going to see that. Okay, cool. That I wondered what those folks were doing. And then I was done. I was like, cool. Can't wait for the next one. Like I didn't think to evaluate it, right? I didn't come out of it going like, oh my gosh, that was so great. But I also didn't come out of it critiquing it either. It was neutral.
Yeah, I think it would, if anybody is waiting, I would say wait until there's a few episodes, because I suspect just being able to burst through 3 of them at once will be a fundamentally different experience.
Yeah, you may be right about that. If you got something we should be on the lookout for, email us, cordkillers@gmail.com. Now, some of you read books, and we want you to know that's okay. I know this is a show about watching television shows and movies, but reading a book is great, especially when you do it on an e-reader, for example. That can be easier on your eyes. It can be easier to carry books around. And a lot of you know that I do the Daily Tech News Show, the premier show for following news of technology throughout the year. A lot of the work I do to understand technology is showing up in book form. That's right. You can actually understand a lot of technology just by buying Synced by Tom Merritt. Know a little more about tech. That's the subhead right there. Synced, Know a Little More About Tech by Tom Merritt. Available as a print book at lulu.com, LULU.com, coming to Amazon soon, or as an ebook wherever fine ebooks are vended.
Tom, one of my favorite things about this is that you can open up the book to literally anywhere and learn something new. Go ahead and riffle through those pages, and then I'll say, stop. What are we on?
But DNS started in 1974 as a host.txt file on a machine at the SRI, developed and maintained by Elizabeth Feinler.
Look at that. I just learned something. And so did everybody at home. And they can learn so much more if they go to tomsnewbook.com.
Do it. tomsnewbook.com. Let's scan the horizon.
Send a scanning crew aboard.
Scanning the horizon!
Oh, yeah. I'm ready for the ongoing segment about who's going to buy Warner Brothers Discovery. Are you ready, Brian? Ready for the latest?
I thought it was all wrapped up last week. Something tells me this will be a serial.
Oh, no. Paramount is trying to appeal to shareholders to accept its bid for Warner Brothers Discovery, even though the Warner Brothers evil board has already accepted Netflix's offer. So Paramount went to Warner Brothers and said, all right, we know that Netflix has this great offer, but here's our new offer. I know you thought Netflix was a better offer. Here's our new offer. Exactly the same price, but with 40% of the financing guaranteed by my dad, Larry Ellison. I'm David Ellison, CEO of Paramount. What do you think of that offer, Warner Brothers Discovery?
I mean, to be honest, if the implied issue is complications about funding, like basically they're removing even their offer from the beginning was, oh, who knows what Netflix stock is worth. You don't want to be chaos gambling. We're going to give you a hard price. And then it's like, well, but funding is hard. It's like, what if that was less complicated? What if we are even more transparent?
What if one of the richest men on earth guaranteed that this will get financed? What would you say to that? And what Warner Brother Discovery's 5th largest shareholder at Harris Oakmark said is, we see these two deals as a toss-up, and there's a cost to changing paths. If Paramount is serious about winning, they're going to need to provide a greater incentive.
Yes. I think that is
basically
the right play.
What they said was, you need to offer more money. If you want us to change our mind, it's going to have to be more money. Because if you offer more money, Paramount, then Netflix will probably offer more money as well. And then we all get more money. And that's what we're interested in as shareholders of Warner Brothers Discovery.
Yeah, who would have thought that Warner Brothers, after all of its troubled releases, would be in a seller's market right now, able to play two bidders off of each other?
And then one other note around this whole saga, Netflix refinanced its bridge loan that is used to deliver the cash to the Warner deal. Anybody ever used a bridge loan to buy a house kind of knows what that means. It's a loan where you're like, I'm going to get the cash, but I don't have it immediately. So I got to sell my house before I get the cash. So give me a bridge loan so I can buy the new house, and then I'll sell the old house and then the cash. It's not Netflix selling houses, obviously, but this is a way to deliver the cash quickly to the Warner Brothers Discovery shareholders, and then Netflix can refinance it at a lower interest rate later. The only thing that's important about that, normally I wouldn't bring this up, but when Paramount's out there with its big offer saying we've got tighter financing, Netflix just tightened up its financing a tiny bit too. So
yeah.
Peacock will show a new type of ad on your profile selection page if you're paying for a version of the service that has ads. If you're on the premium service, then you won't see this. But if you are on the ad-supported service, when you launch Peacock, you will get an ad on the profile selection page. Your profiles will be on the left, apparently, or I think, and then there'll be a big ad on the right.
Yeah, I guess fine, he says guardedly.
No, it's not fine. Everyone on the internet is mad that the service that they pay for that delivers ads will be delivering another ad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess that's the reason I'm like, whenever you have a new way of experiencing things, for example, I feel about this the same way I feel with trepidation and curiosity for how like OpenAI is going to roll in ads to its service if and when it does.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I don't love it. I don't love turning on a profile page and seeing a big ad, but it's probably not going to affect anything in my life. Like I'll still be able to, as long as I can actually find the profile icons, which from the mock-ups, it looks like that shouldn't be an issue. Great. You know what? I was paying for a service that had ads in it already. I'm not going to get too upset that there's an ad in it.
Yeah.
Do you remember, Brian, when I very Nostradamus-like said, I suspect that as soon as Disney and YouTube resolve their carriage issues for YouTube TV, that Google will come back to movies anywhere?
I do remember you said that.
Yeah. Well, they did.
Yeah. No, that tracks.
Google's back on movies anywhere. You do have to reconnect your account though. So if you're like, wait, I don't see those movies showing up in my Google Movies section. You have to go to Movies Anywhere, reauthorize your Google account. And then finally, I found this mildly interesting. Netflix acquired an avatar creation company, Ready Player Me, that it's going to use in its games. So if you're playing games on the TV through Netflix, which they're trying to make more of, like Jackbox style games and stuff, puzzle games, you'll be able to put yourself in the game.
Yeah, this sounds like a small thing, but I think it's a fairly big thing. I still think about how much time everybody put investing in making sure that their Nintendo Mii, M-I-I, looked like them so that they could, play tennis and golf and bowl and all that stuff. So this is if there's already a company that has solved for all this stuff and they don't have to reinvent the wheel, I think that's a sharp move.
Yeah, and it shows that Netflix is still not that I doubted it, but Netflix is still serious about gaming. They're still developing their gaming strategy. All right, we will hold to finish up with the chatter. Our first email comes from Randy, who wanted to tell us how he watches television. Randy says, I watch in the morning after you. Oh, I guess it's how I watch
our show.
Television.
Yeah.
Yes. He says, I watch in the morning after you drop it on my living room TV while eating breakfast and drinking my coffee before I leave for work, or in the evening while in bed on the TV in there. So Randy watches it on TV. And if it's the morning for you, Randy, cheers. Here's
top of the morning, or have a good evening.
Or sleep well.
I want more of these. Cordkillers@gmail.com. Tell us what slice of your life that we get to occupy.
I am surprised that our first one is like, oh yeah, no, I watch it on the TV. You were my breakfast or evening viewing. So honored to be there. And then Scott says, hearing Brian's enthusiasm for Pluribus made me want to watch. I would love to hear his take on episode 7, which is to my mind possibly the most expensive episode of television ever created when you factor in all the royalties necessary for the songs Rhea Seehorn is singing or humming. Thanks for the great suggestion. Keep them coming.
Yes, I look forward to giving comments too as soon as I see it. Now the whole family's all caught up. I rewatched the last 2 episodes to get it caught up with Penny, and now we're all synced. So I guess tomorrow there'll be the last 3 episodes we'll watch as a family.
So you have 2 episodes left to watch, and then tomorrow, Wednesday, they're early releasing the finale.
Correct.
We're just gonna binge them all then. I don't think it's much of a spoiler what Scott said, but basically there's a lot of music in the episode he's referring to, and some of it is Rhea Seehorn singing, but there are also the actual songs. And I was thinking the same thing as Scott. I was like, they licensed this one. Ooh, that's Apple money. I wonder if Apple Music helped them get the license for that one, so.
Conspiracy brain Brian is chiming in with assuming exactly that.
Yeah. Well, that is it for Cord Killers for 2025. Less the Killies. The Killies will be our last official episode, and then we will come back from CES the first week of January with a Cord Killers report on anything related to cutting the cord at CES 2026 in Las Vegas, and then we'll resume the full experience the week after that. So that will be, I guess, on the 13th of January. We'll come back with the full experience. And if you don't remember the full experience, we'll start on January 13th with Star Trek, the animated series. So thank you, everyone, for being with us all year long. We hope you have a great holidays. Our website is cordkillers.com. Our email address is cordkillers@gmail.com. And we are live on twitch.tv/nightattack and youtube.com/modernrogue. Starting again in the new year, Tuesdays at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 p.m. Pacific. I reckon we'll talk to you then. Happy New Year, everybody.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Yeah, we did it.
We won. We won the internet.
We did it. Yeah.
We killed all the cords.
So the Killies, I guess we don't do on the live stream, do we?
We don't have to, no. I think we usually keep it under wraps.
Yeah, that's our Christmas
present.
present.
PricewaterhouseCoopers has all the winners, and they're sealed and everything. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you to everybody joining us live. Paolo. Yeah, there it is. Gambling Man, Vincent Veldecamp, Donkey King 475, G James B, Wild Hoagie, Bray the Artist, Larry. Thank you guys so very much. We're gonna skedaddle off the live stream. We'll see you guys next year. Wow.
Next year.